Have you ever wondered how religion works in a place like the Backrooms? No, you haven't? Well, that's too bad. In real life, religion is a mainstay across pretty much every single landmass. Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Buddhism, Satanism, and other esoteric beliefs. It's literally been a thing throughout all of human history. But what happens to all of that when you're thrown into a place like the Backrooms? Is it a godless place where nothing ever ends or begins? Or is something more sinister going on behind the scenes and a darker, stranger deity is doing all the string pulling? I don't know, that's why I'm making this video. Hopefully at the end of this video, you'll get a better grasp on what religion is in the Backrooms, because today in this video, I will be explaining Backrooms level 105, also known as the Prayer House. And I think this level does a good job of explaining how religion is in the Backrooms. So without any more introduction, sit back and relax, grab you a Sprite, and let's get ready to talk about how this all works and how worshiping works inside the Backrooms as I go over this level, shall we? Level 105 has been given a Class 1 difficulty rating and is safe and secure with a small amount of entities that are harmless, allegedly. And you'll see why I say allegedly later on in the video, just trust me. The area itself looks to be a very large church complex with a plain and minimalistic design style throughout it. People kind of say it looks like a morgue because it has these giant arched ceilings, but that's whatever. When one first arrives to the level, they will see this one huge sanctuary room with those high arched ceilings, all held up by large columns. There are other hallways and rooms that branch off into different parts of this building complex. I'll talk about those in a minute. But this main part of the level is made out of this white marbly texture. The only things of note in this giant sanctuary are the repeating rows of wooden church pews, as well as a small altar at the very front of the room. The specific number of rows of pews is 200 for those of you who care. And each of these rows is designated in a very strange way. In front of the pews is that altar area that I talked about, where normally in real life you'd see religious symbolism at the altar. You'd see like a cross or a rosary or other forms of heraldry. But here in level 105, this level is devoid of any of that. It's blank. There's nothing there. The reason there's no imagery or the reason there's no symbolism is because this is a church where you can worship any deity or any religion at all, from the Backrooms or from real life. You don't have to stick to a certain one. You can worship any way you want to here. It's kind of an inclusive church, you could say. The level itself, though, is not completely devoid of decoration. It's just devoid of typical religious decoration. In fact, up near the organ and on the pews and at the altar are strange markings and engravings. You see, instead of the usual crosses or other symbols that you'd see in a church, mathematical symbols and geometric shapes decorate this sanctuary. I'm probably going to mess these pronunciations up, but isohedras are at the ends of the first 40 or so rows of pews, and then the next 40 rows of pews have dodecahedras on them, and then the next 40 have octahedras on them, and then the next 40 has cube shapes on the end of them, and the final 40 has tetrahedras on them. Obviously, all of these hedras are different various shapes, and those shapes are etched into those specific pews. On the pillars that are holding this giant church area up, there are tapestries showing these shapes as well. Sometimes they have tetrahedrons on them with Roman numerals and other swirly esoteric shapes, but since these aren't outright religious, they're just considered an oddity of the level. Just a bunch of weird shape stuff all over. In this level, there's also a group of people who kind of run the church and maintain it. They're called by others as the church people, which is an interesting, unique name, and they're essentially the people who have decided to stay here and to worship their own faith, and they're said to be kind and generous, and they take in lost people and lost children, and they help out in general. They'll give you food, they'll give you water, rations, medical attention, and things like that. Notice how I keep saying allegedly. This level is said to be naturally rich in resources, which is a part of why people like to come here. It's kind of a cornucopia of food and medicine and people. And since it's a safe environment with no entities that are going to try to kill you, trading and living here is pretty common. But as I said, there is more to this church building than just the sanctuary, because there are multiple marbled hallways that branch off into different rooms and foyers. Some different rooms have been transformed into living areas and hospitals and food banks and storage facilities and other various spaces. Like I said, this place is very rich in those kind of resources, and many people come here to get that help. Faceless entities are actually pretty common to see in this level, but they're not aggressive, they're not hostile whatsoever. In fact, they participate in worshiping and in helping others, and they're just generally pretty cool. The food banks in this level often have religion-specific foods that appear inside of them. Things like unleavened bread and wine and baklava and figs and dates and apples and honey and chicken, etc. Things of that nature. All of this bounty can be found in the food stores here, and they come from an unknown location. But the entirety of level 105 is treated as a sort of safe haven. People think that no one's trying to take advantage of you, and that, the level itself is safe, so the Backrooms isn't trying to kill you, which all of that seems pretty nice. But again, notice how I've said allegedly about 15 times in this video. I didn't want to get your hopes up. I'm almost at the time where I'm going to explain why I keep saying that. Those church people who run the entire place, they try not to pressure people into joining them or forcing them to believe anything. Instead, they promote a place where you can kind of worship what you want on your own terms, allegedly. They say that if you want to join this church and take part in the bounty and the safety of it, then you have to speak to someone called the Illuminated One. Now, the Illuminated One is probably one of the strangest entities that I've talked about in a while. He appears as a tall, hooded man with short, ginger-colored hair, dressed in dark clothing. On his face, kind of wears a hood or a veil to cover himself, and he seems reluctant to show his true face. Maybe he's ugly, maybe he has anxiety, or maybe he's not human and he's trying to control the level. Allegedly. On the surface, he seems kind of docile and kind, and he's willing to talk to anyone who asks questions, and he fits right into that vibe of the helping hand aura that this level gives out. If you want to enter this church level, you can find a cathedral door over on level 11 inside of the city and walk through its front door, or you can no-clip through a Bible or any other religious text like the Quran that you find inside the Backrooms. If you want to leave, you can walk right back out the front door of the main building, or you can no-clip through a wall, allegedly. Because you guessed it, all of what I just said kinda isn't true at all. There's a much darker side to this level that honestly I didn't even think about till I read through this page the first time, but I get it now, and it's disturbing. And that's because beneath the physical building of this church is said to be a hidden base that is run by a group of people known as the Iron Fist. And the base beneath the church is called Base Jupiter, located right under the nose of this safe, quote-unquote, level. Now I'm going to read a little excerpt from the levels page that describes what the base is, because it's going to do a better job than I would, so just listen up for the next couple minutes. Quote, "The level you are in is level 105 and is the location of main Jupiter base, which is one of our most hidden and successful main bases. We were successfully able to deceive the public eye by pretending to be a mere community of harmless believers of different faiths, and to this day, no threats are aware of the secrets hidden beneath the walls. Those who had been aware did not see the light of day. Abdius Podhorzer was able to build this base after many sacrifices. Thanks to his great efforts and analysis skills, we were able to successfully acquire the information of over 500 targets, if not more. Just like under the rule of our previous leaders, we were successful in our great mission, and to this day our faction thrives undisturbed. In order to access the base, one must press a combination of different tiles on the church altar. Said combination will be given to all new recruits of our faction. Accessing the stairs behind the altar will lead to the underground base. Make sure to store the code in a place that won't be uncovered by others, as failure to hide the code will result in expulsion from the group and the elimination of the outside threat. Remember to maintain the disguise and follow the protocol outside of the premises of the base. Do not speak of our organization and do not attempt to recruit people openly. Be like the shadows and destroy the false gods who have wronged us." End quote. So yeah, a secret society lives under this level and takes advantage of the people by sacrificing them. Nice! The page then goes on to talk about how you should become a part of the organization and try to just recruit you. I can't talk about all of it here because YouTube doesn't like killings and all that stuff, but you get the point. Essentially, the top area is a front, it's a trap, it's used for nefarious purposes to lure people in, and then the base Jupiter is below, and that's where the bad things go on. So to answer the question that this video is about, does religion matter in the backrooms? What happens to religion in the backrooms? It doesn't matter, only if you need it to. That's my answer. That's it for the video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this one. I thought that little twist at the end was pretty neat, if not a little bit cliche, but I still enjoyed it. Leave a like if you did too. Leave a comment also while you're down there of other stuff I should talk about. I'll probably see it eventually. I try to read all the comments. Thank you for all you do. I love and appreciate each and every one of you all. Make sure you tell somebody you love them as well, because life is too short not to. With all that said, I will see you in the next installment of Brutally Summer Spectacular here on the channel, and that'll just be in a couple days. So I'll see you then. Peace.